Hello, and welcome to PremiumBytes, where we shine a light on the unsung world of insurance technology leaders. I am Sudhar Krishnamachary, one of your co-hosts, and with Samir Ahmed, our other co-host, we're here to have meaningful conversations about the evolving technology landscape inside the insurance industry. Let's acknowledge it. Being an insurance firm CIO or Chief Information Officer is one of the toughest leadership roles in today's world. You've got a risk-averse mindset baked into the very fabric of the industry, a legacy estate that must complement the modern tech, and a talent crisis from both the retiring side and next-gen recruiting side. And then you got the slower pace of innovation. We see it because we're right there in the trenches with you as consultants day in and day out. Our mission is to deep dive, have conversations that carry substance, offer practical insights, and help you validate and navigate the relevant challenges of being an effective CIO in the insurance sector. So thank you for joining us on this adventure. Let's jump right into our next conversation. Hey Samir, welcome back.
Hey, good afternoon, Sudhar. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Happy to be back on the next episode. Looking forward to this discussion. Like we kind of left off in the last one, I think this is something that piqued both our interest, and our hope is that it'll pique our audience interest. But I'll let you introduce the title and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So, back in episode 12, I think it was, we talked about, blockchain as a topic in insurance. 4 or 5 years back, you go to any event, you look at any publication, it would appear in a big way. And as the years have rolled on, blockchain has died down as the interest in it has died down, but it's still there. It seems to not go away. So we discussed this in episode 12 and we unpacked various angles. And, true to that theme, last episode we did our news roundup, and one of the stories that came up was this one from Best's Review in their August edition, that this firm, Infineo, they've tokenized life insurance policy and they're debuting it through the blockchain. So we just shared that this came up, as let people read the article on their own, and we had discussed that we should really unpack this in a episode by itself. So that is today's episode and today's discussion.
That's right. When you introduced this, I felt like, even though it's like a 2-page article, I felt like every line was something new to me, and I felt like I don't really, as much as I like to say that I'm an insurance enthusiast and I understand and appreciate, I felt like I was going down a rabbit hole that is not a familiar territory for me. And knowing you as a technology wizard, I felt like we should have a conversation. So.
Yeah, and look, I won't claim expertise in this particular space itself. I'm very much a student also, as far as blockchain and related tech is concerned. But yeah, let's do that, right? So let's go through
You're
this.
Much more humble, but you're also a fast learner, and I'd rather have you educate me than somebody else. So that's exactly it. The starting point was like, what are we tokenizing here? I understand tokens, and most of our audience obviously will also be familiar with blockchain and tokens. But I'm like, tokenizing a life insurance policy. That's where I wanted to start.
Yeah. And so I will not assume that, right? I will just start with what are we talking about, right? So tokenization, right, is the idea of taking a real world asset of some kind, could be a tangible asset, could be an intangible asset, and digitizing it to represent on a blockchain, which then gives it all the characteristics that come with the blockchain, that it is provenant, you can verify its truth, it is immutable, right? Once it's there, it cannot be changed, and it's distributed, so everybody has a copy and they all have the same copy, right? So that's the idea of tokenization. Take some real world asset and put it on the blockchain. So that's what Infineo is claiming in this article, right? That they have tokenized. So they say 9.4 million worth of policies, and they're using this specific Provenance blockchain. That's a version of it.
Sure.
So that's what they've done, right? So now the question you can ask, and I think you have asked, right, is, well, what do they mean by 9.4 million worth of policies?
Yeah,
And
those are three questions. So I just want to unpack it in logical order. Like, what does tokenizing a policy mean? What the hell are they doing? And then what's like debuting it? Like, okay, so that means like something new has been invented of the face of this earth. So something debuts. And then to your point, like, okay, why 9 million, not 90 million or 900 million?
yeah. So so tokenization, right? So I've already touched on what that means, right? And I'll just go a little bit back and forth in the article because the information is spread out.
Still,
But
okay.
to be clear, they have launched a platform. They are not issuing life insurance policies themselves. So
Thank you.
actually,
I
you
think
go
that's the
further
first
on.
clarification. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, last paragraph, we are not directly issuing life insurance policies on the
Can you
blockchain.
highlight it? I think that folks can then easily read it. I don't know if you're able to highlight it.
There we go.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Infineo's platform utilizes blockchain to provide better tracking, administration, transparency, lending, and securitization. And we can again unpack some of these
Exact.
other phrases that are there or words that are there. But to your starting point, right? They have launched a platform that that allows tokenization of existing life insurance. So
Sure.
somebody else has issued it. Let's say I'm a policyholder. I have life insurance. I can go to Infineo and I can upload a copy of my policy, and they tokenize that. They put it on the blockchain, on this Provenance blockchain, and now there's a tokenized version of my policy.
Okay. So I'm going to ask follow-on questions. You can table them, and then we could kind of dance around this and come back to it. So first is
Yeah.
it is at an individual policy level, right? Not they're not like saying this is a policy system that they're selling to an insurance company to put blocks of policies or anything like that. It's like a retail, presumably one single retail policy owned by an individual who will do something with it. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So this particular article does not touch on that, but I did, look into this more. So let me bring it up. Right, there's another publication, the Tokenizer. So they have an article around this from September 10th, and interestingly, right, they're quoting successfully tokenized 125 million worth of life insurance policies in just over 3 months since its launch. So presumably, right, they made progress since the best review article.
Got
But
it.
nonetheless, this article answers your question that it platform addresses this issue by allowing policyholders to upload their life insurance document and input the contact details of beneficiaries. While the platform currently doesn't directly interface with insurers, future developments could include mechanisms to verify policy changes with insurance companies. So there's no integration, there's no working in a B2B context. This is meant for policyholders directly.
Correct. And that first paragraph, sorry, the first paragraph, a key motivation below the addressing on that article is also an interesting one to highlight. I think we touched on this in the other article, is that it sounds like their business problem they're going after is many policies are not claimed. This is speculation. I'm not saying that's as a statement. I'm just asking if you
Yep.
have a point of view on this. Is that two lines says a key motivation behind this is that insurance industry beneficiaries are not informed of their inclusion in the life insurance policy, ironically. And then, life insurance are criticized for not notifying the beneficiaries after the policyholder's death.
Yeah.
So it
So-
sounds
so-
like there is a public record of this going forward if there was a way to do this.
So this article, you go further down, right? So it's has the section, a glimpse into Infineo's business model. So here you go. For now, it's offering the death notification service for free. And their goal is to generate revenue through its upcoming secondary market and lending platform. So no, this death notification is not the source of intended revenue. And by the way, flipping back to Best's review, right in this article, they have said this, right? So if you go down to page 2, Infineo said it is also working to build a robust secondary marketplace allowing tokenized policies to be transacted on a so-called peer-to-peer basis, in addition to allowing people to securitize them and new products backed by life insurance.
So that's a pretty, now we're like jumping from A to Z, that
That's
now
right.
an individual policy becomes a security token that can be traded in the secondary marketplace.
Yeah. And then, they further make the statement, the market currently does not offer such an option, the statement said. Which, again, begs the question, what are they saying the market doesn't offer? Because secondary markets exist. You, as an individual, right, I can go sell my life insurance. That's what a life settlement is. And even tertiary markets exist where, you can go invest in companies that have blocks of these life settlements, and they go buy them for you. So both secondary and tertiary markets already exist. In fact, this idea of insurance-linked securities, this already exists in the market. Specifically for life insurance, it already exists. And if anybody doubts it, right, here is the Life ILS conference. So they're having whole conferences on this idea, right? 2024 already occurred. This one is now going to be in 2025 is the next one. And, it's got agenda and speakers and all that. So no, I would disagree that the market doesn't offer this option. Now, does the market offer this option on a blockchain? Yes, I would agree that that is new or will be new because they don't have it yet. They're looking to offer it.
Or does the market offer a sub-tokenization at an individual policy level? Imagine I don't know, Will Smith, and I have a life policy, and could I tokenize my life policy and trade it in the secondary market and create that as an asset that has some inherent value? Then people start playing, oh, I'm going to own 1/100th of Will Smith's life insurance policy.
I mean, look, too many parts to this. So take it one at a time. Part number one, can you do this today? The answer is yes, you can. Provided Will Smith, as the owner of the life insurance policy, wants to offer it for sale, right? Now, the fact that it's Will Smith's policy should not change the value of that life insurance. The value of that life insurance is the value of the life insurance, right? Whether it's Will Smith's, whether it's Barack Obama's, whether it's mine. The value of that life insurance is the value of that life insurance. So this can already be done. Do I need to do it on a blockchain? Will being able to do it on a blockchain open up the market in a bigger way?
I guess that can be
yet to be seen because it doesn't exist right now. I will point you and our audience members back to some of the experimentation. We talked about this in episode 12 that has occurred. Companies did this experimentation on, let's offer, so Risk Stream, we talked about them back in that episode, right? They offered something, Swiss Re and a few others, they experimented with it. And in the end, they concluded that, sure, it can be done. Sure, it is more efficient. But the cost of launching all of this is far greater than the efficiencies we gain. So it's not economically feasible.
I'm curious, even if one was available, it'll become more as a public service as opposed to being one offered by, like if I am MetLife, for example, and I like to offer to all my policyholders, here's a blockchain-based secondary market. Now your policies can be traded or tokenized and traded.
Look, MetLife really doesn't have a role in that. The policy is owned by the
The
policy owner,
individual.
and the policy owner can sell that, right? So there's a court case that establishes the precedent that it is an asset, and as with all assets, the owner has the rights to sell their ownership, and that creates the concept of the marketplace. And so creating it, right, to what does it even mean for it to be a public market? Again, right, life settlements are already a thing.
So it's not any different.
Yeah. The only innovation that I see in this would be that it's on the blockchain. Okay, what does that do? Well, what that opens up the possibility of ownership can be determined conclusively and undeniably.
Got it.
So
that I could see some value that it is protected in a place that in future I will get paid for it or whatever may be the case, right? Without any arbitrage.
Yeah, and the rub in it is that at the moment, what Infineo is offering, as I understand it from what I've read and looked on their website as well, they are doing this on a direct-to-consumer basis. So it has to happen in the form of me uploading a copy of my policy to their platform. Now, that's a snapshot in time. Did I continue to pay my premiums? Is that policy still in force?
They would never know, right?
They won't know because they're not connected to the insurer. So until they make these connections to the insurers, and that's where your question then becomes relevant, that will the insurer want to put in the investment to integrate with their platform? Well, what does the insurer get out of it? The insurer is not getting anything out of it as far as I'm seeing right now. So there's not much incentive for insurers to hop onto it.
So then can we unpack, there's like 3 or 4 big numbers. There's a small $1 million number, there's a $1 billion number, and there's a $1 trillion number quoted in the article.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So let's do that, right? So one is this one, right? Enhancing the 3 trillion life insurance market.
Yeah.
So this is
okay. What is? Yeah.
Yeah, this number, right? You do hear it or read about it. It's a estimate of the global life insurance market. When people think about size of a market, they're usually thinking of either revenue or total value of something, right? So if you're talking about revenue, you'd be using premium numbers. If you're thinking about value, that becomes a little bit more, it becomes a little bit more challenging, right? Because what is the value of a life insurance policy? You can think of it from a face value perspective. You can think of it from a premium perspective. You can think of it from a overall revenue perspective, which premium is one type of revenue. There's other sources of revenue as well. By the way, right, I did pose this as a question to Infineo and their CEO, Cole Snell, on Twitter. I'm waiting for an answer. So if I get an answer, I can post it as an update, but they haven't shared it. What I would infer, right, in the absence of a conclusive answer, is that they're talking about the value of life insurance,
Got it.
not just premiums. So then you go a little bit further, right, and anybody that deals with life insurance, they already know this, but for those that don't, valuation of life insurance is not straightforward because typical if you think of it from a tax perspective, you would think of, hey, what is the fair market value of this thing? So what that requires is me being able to go into a market and say, here's my life insurance policy, will you buy it? And a person says, yes, I'll buy it, here's how much I would pay you. That would be the fair market value. Well, anyone that tries to do that will know that you can't really establish this number. So actuaries, right, they use other techniques, and typically they look at, is the policy less than a year old? If it's less than the year old, they'll say its value is what you paid for it.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can go to a different company and get same life insurance for comparable, cost. If it's more than a year old, then they look at, is it paid up or are more premiums due? If it's paid up, like, for example, you could do a single pay life insurance, or you could go do like a 5-pay or a 10-pay life insurance, right? So if it's paid up, then they just look at, what does it cost you to purchase that same amount of life insurance from a different company? So you're looking at like a comparable at that point. And if it's more than more payments are needed, then they look at built up value in the policy. So anyhow, right? So my best guess is they're looking at the total value of life insurance. What method did they use to calculate the policy values? It's unclear, but that's what this number 9.4 million, which, by the way, the Tokenizer article, right, I pointed this out, has quoted 125 million by the time this article came out. And actually, if you go to the Infineo website itself, right at the top here, they have a ticker, which today, October 24th, is showing 214.4 million that presumably has been uploaded to the platform and they've tokenized it.
Got it. So that's
what this second number in this article is.
So it's from 9.4 to now possibly $215 million. So presumably a lot of retail policies are uploaded and they're now tokenized on the platform. I think that's as far as it has gone.
That's right.
There was another number in the next page for 7 billion or something along those lines. 7.4.
Yeah. So this is the estimated amount of unclaimed death benefits, and in this article they do not give a source for this. The other one actually did. So here you go, right? A 2016 report from USA Today reveals that insurers were using the Social Security Death Master to stop annuity payments, but they wouldn't use that same info to send over
life insurance benefit,
death benefits. And they agreed on a settlement of 7.4 billion in Florida. So that's where that number comes from.
Got it. Okay, so that's unclaimed benefits. So I guess there's some tie-up that they have to leveraging this in order to, I guess there's a social benefit too, that whoever is legitimately eligible for a benefit will find this in the blockchain if everything was in the blockchain, and so they can lay claim to it and get paid, I guess.
Yeah, look, there's sort of a mixed story on this topic, right? So what's that mixed story? Part one, sometimes policy owners do not want beneficiaries to know that they are named beneficiaries on the policy. And you can, think of reasons why you may not want somebody to know that, oh, you're set up to receive this amount when I die, for example, right? So whether this is there or not there, if the policy owner doesn't want the beneficiaries to be notified or known upfront, this does not help, because I wouldn't take advantage of it. So there's a segment of this which is actually because the policy owner doesn't want it.
By
to
design,
be
you're
that way.
saying it is the nature of it, right? Yeah.
Correct. Okay. Second part of the story is that, in fact, life insurers go through this process. They're required to go through this
Right.
process of monitoring death master, records. And when they learn that one of their insureds has passed away and there's an active policy on the life of that insured, they have to go through the due diligence of identifying the rightful beneficiaries. And this is sort of there's a regulatory process around it. They go through this, and after, I think it varies by state to state, but 3 years is the typical number, right? That 3 years from the death, if a life insurance company has not identified all the beneficiaries, anything that remains unpaid goes through the unclaimed property process. It's cheated to the state, and then the state takes over those funds. So, is there some carrier out there that is, not doing what they should be doing? Yes. But is this the mainstream thing? No. I know this because I've worked on building processes and automating some of this process for life insurance companies.
Yeah.
Anyways, so all my point is just that this part about it's this large number and it goes unclaimed, and insurers are not doing what they're supposed to do. Sure, USA Today did a story. It came on CBS 60 Minutes a number of years back as well. Anybody in the life insurance business
Acknowledges it, and they're working towards it. So there's still,
correct.
what you're saying is there's still not a clear line of sight between what these guys are creating as a solution. So we'll leave that, and hopefully we'll get more insight from either Cole himself or others as part of our audience. But I want to unpack one more thing if we have time. Is why did it take a lot of research and development and execution? Like what is this debut thing about? Like why didn't anyone blockchain has been around for at least 10 years. So why not tokenize a life insurance policy 10 years ago? What's special now?
I think it's a good question to try to answer. I don't know that we have all the information. I certainly would welcome a conversation with Cole or any other representative from Infineo.
Or Terrence from Best Review too. Yeah,
from Best Review, right? Maybe they can come join us, and we can talk about this on an episode with them. Any of you, if you know how to get in touch with folks, please make the connection. We'd love to talk. But based on the information that's available, Sudhar, right, I can share maybe 3 data points. So actually, no, this is not new in concept. Putting life insurance records or a death registry on a blockchain is already been explored in Asian markets. So we touched on this in
the prior
12.
episode. Yeah,
that's right. So that part is not new. Now, this idea of tokenizing life insurance, right? This is also not new. We touched on this with the risk stream and a couple of the other startups that tried these things, and then in the end they did not proceed because they were not economically feasible. So that's the second data point, right? And then the third one is that why did it take? We don't know, but we do know that they are themselves saying after years of R&D. So it certainly did take them years. How many? I don't know. I think this is maybe a 2016 company. Maybe I shouldn't say that without verifying it. So I'll confirm that and we'll put it in the notes.
Sure. But I'm guessing there's nothing special about the evolution of the blockchain as a technology. Perhaps the market is ready now that retail institutions are offering bitcoins and other digital financial assets
Yeah.
to the retail consumer, right? So perhaps this is just my speculation. You can react to it and poke holes at it. Is that perhaps that they feel like, oh, it's now time to tokenize, insurance policies and start trading them as well?
Yeah, I have a little bit more of a tempered sort of point of view on it. I don't think that someone somehow timed this.
Got it.
It's They were working on it, and it took them that long to launch it. They launched it as fast as they could launch it. It happens to coincide with on the SEC front some movement on ETFs with cryptocurrencies and all that. I think that's just coincident. I don't think somebody timed it.
Yeah.
But again, I'd love to be wrong about it. If we can get connected with folks at Infineo, we can get direct answers.
Yeah. So with that, maybe I'll ask the last question, and we can wrap in about 5 minutes. Is so what is is there anything coming out of this, tying it back to our past, somewhat rolling our eyes type of a blockchain episode that we did, and I always bring this point about blockchain being a rolling our eyes topic in the insurance technology space at least. Is there
Yeah.
anything that comes out of this that feels it's like, oh, we should take a step back and notice here because there's something new going on here that might have a new turn of direction for blockchain and insurance?
Yeah, I mean, look, I would not write anything off here. I would pay attention to it and just follow the developments. At the same time, I don't think that this is, the best thing since sliced bread that everybody should run to and flock and, put everything aside and jump on this. Um, the reason I have these
We already
tempered
touched on it.
expectations, we already touched on them, but just to recap, one, uh, sure, you can tokenize a policy, but it requires individual policyholders to know. So how are people going to know about this? Either Infineo is doing their advertising, or more than likely, right, they would have to build partnerships with carriers, so carriers can, as part of policy issuance, let people know. But then more than that, it's point in time. A person has to upload the document. There is no data connectivity with policy admin systems at life insurers, that when the policy is issued, it's already tokenized. So
So
if
I
that
was
is a
thinking more along the lines of that, which is, what if this company or any other company could become the digital wallet. Wallet is probably a word associated with more like digital money, but maybe a digital locker for
yeah.
insurance policies. That way, practically all my physical policies are in my filing folder upstairs. And then, to the extent that I trust insurance companies to also make sure that they have a system of record on my policy, those are the only two sources. But
Yeah, I mean, look, I go to sort of the sources of estate planners and estate planning platforms for that purpose. So, for example, Fidelity has this idea already, right? You can upload all your documents to Fidelity, and they'll keep them safe. And Similarly, if you go to some of the fintechs that are doing estate planning,
That's where I was going. Is that this becomes an
they have
InsurTech?
this. Yeah. So why would I go to Infineo for a one-off thing, which is just for life insurance? I want to go for my broader estate documents, and policies are
Just one
just one
component of it.
form.
That makes complete
Yeah,
sense. I think maybe that will evolve, and so that becomes a fintech play.
correct.
Yeah.
So anyways, right? So that tempers my expectations a little bit. So then you ask, well, can this open up when carriers will want to do integrations with a platform like this? And I don't see where's the value for the carrier at the moment. I see the cost. I don't see the value. So if somebody can point that out, right, then I'll adjust my point of view on it. And then last thing, right, is that right in this article, right, the company is talking about they've moved on to building something else, which is this marketplace to securitize life insurance and make it available for trading. Well, have we solved these problems that we're ready to move on to the next big thing? Right, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like it's a pretty big leap. But I think I can see the leap as a somewhat of a directional place to go.
Yeah.
But I think we are too far from the starting line to look at the finish line yet.
And that's back to the conclusion from last time as well, that logically, yes, it makes sense. You can draw a line from point A to B to C to D to all the way to Z, right? And logically, it all makes sense. What it comes down to is it economically viable? And so far, it has not been economically viable. Therefore, all the efforts have ended. So, what is different here? Let's see the case for that. And if there is a case for it, then we should renew our points of view and make them more optimistic. But for now, I will say
Interesting
this is,
article, right? So that's a good way to wrap this up. Is I think full circle back. I think you and I felt like this was a fascinating topic, if nothing, to surface to our audience, and both of us learned a lot, and we wanted to share a little bit of what we are learning as we go with our audience. That is the spirit. And for Terrence and Cole, both welcome a chance to brainstorm. I think four of us, a group of us, will make this conversation even more richer and deeper. So that's the spirit. Hopefully, guys listening, you feel like this kind of a discussion is also productive. So if there's good, bad feedback, let us know on what we can do something like this going forward differently than the usual, deep dive topics. So
yeah,
with that,
absolutely.
yeah. No, with that, I was just going to say thanks for all the support. Like us, follow us, subscribe, and engage with us in all channels. And we'll look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. So thank you, Samir.
Yeah, thank you. Talk to you later.
And that's a wrap for today's conversation on PremiumBytes, where we shine a light on the unsung world of insurance technology leaders. Thank you for joining us on this adventure and being part of our community. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and follow us. Until next time, take care.